Amazon is rolling out its Rufus generative AI assistant to all US customers. According to Chain Storage, Rufus helps customers answer questions, gets customer product recommendations, and facilitate product discovery by leveraging Amazon's product catalog, customer reviews, and web information. Since its beta launch in February of 2024, customers have asked Rufus tens of millions of product-specific questions, using it for inquiries like product ease of maintenance, tracking orders, and accessing past orders to inform future purchases. Amazon is enhancing its use of generative AI beyond Rufus, including a partnership with NVIDIA to improve product listings, advanced AI tools for creating and editing listings, and AI features for fashion shoppers. Customers can also search by image and summarize product reviews using generative AI. Mohit, we're going to go to you for this one. I want to know, what should retailers and brands be doing now that Amazon, along with Walmart and several other retailers, are training customers to get used to search and shopping using Gen AI assistants?
Yeah, I mean, the way I think about this is, the pandemic had really accelerated some structural changes in core consumer behavior. And that is what they buy, how they buy it, where they buy it from, what channels, service expectations. So, if you kind of think about service expectations, when we were in the peak of COVID, self-service, be it a checkout in a store or being more comfortable with a digital channel, went through the roof, right? Now you kind of marry that with some of the macro headwinds around increasing labor costs, talent availability. This was always the direction, other companies or industries were heading down. Banks are a perfect example of this, right? So typically retail, as we all know, is an industry segment which is not at the forefront of technology innovation. But that's been happening in banks for almost a decade now, right? Now you couple that with rapid developments in AI, and you have a unique opportunity to maximize every customer interaction, right? To deepen that customer relationship, to build loyalty, and to be more consistent, right? And be more responsive. So, this is a trend which will continue. I think you said tens of millions of impressions. I think if we were probably having this discussion in a couple of years, it would be tens of billions of impressions all around the globe, right? And I think it kind of depends on what kind of retailers and brands we are talking about. I firmly believe anything which is mass to mid-market, this is the new normal. The only caveat for this would be, industries or specific segments where consumers have a higher service expectation, where human touch will still continue to be prioritized over these kind of technologies.
Yeah, so you'd recommend that retailers, a variety of types of retailers. This isn't just a specific use case. This is like all retailers should be looking at how they're going to do this because of
and I'll tell you,
changing consumer.
Based on the work which we're doing with multiple retailers, many of them, especially the large retailers, have actively been looking at it for multiple use cases. Customer service is one, assortment planning is another one. How do you think about maximizing, your inventory productivity? How do you think about using it in pricing and promotions, dynamic promotions, to kind of really think about, how do you maximize margins? So the use cases are immense, and the impact this would have on retail as an industry would be humongous in coming years.
Right. Yeah. Chris Disa, what would you add in there? Are you in agreement with Mohit's recommendation for retailers?
Yes, absolutely. I'd also, in addition, there's also other use cases. One that's really interesting is around labor planning and how retailers can look at buying patterns and then be more effective with planning their labor based on some of these AI generative tools.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I used Rufus yesterday for my Prime Day purchases, and it was amazing because it pops up right away now. So it's like, whether you want to use it or not, you start getting down the rabbit hole of like, which scent diffuser is the best one, and how big of a room do I need it? So it's like all of this data that you're collecting, like you said, Chris, I think will help inform where do we need an associate to step in versus like what can generative AI tackle with this.
Absolutely.
Chris,
it's true.
Yeah.
I actually asked Rufus today what shirt. I'm going to an Ann and Chris podcast and said wear a blue shirt.
Oh, Hey,
Well done,
the-
Rufus. Well done,
yes.
Rufus.
The applications are limitless. Chris Walton, close us up here. What are your thoughts on Rufus?
Yeah, I think what's interesting to me in this conversation, I think Mo had brought up an interesting point about speed. Like, it's going to make the speed of the user interface of digital commerce that much faster and more efficient, which is something I never thought about. But, you know, the main point that I'd reemphasize is that every boardroom and retail executive should be asking, what are we doing to make our site function like this? Because if we don't, we're going to get left behind. You've got to be prepared for this change. And as evidenced by the fact that you guys were using it for Prime Day, you're using it to pick your shirt, Moet. Like, it's coming, and you don't want to be too late on this one, unfortunately.